Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session of Get Connected. I am Julie Gessner, the Vice President of Sales for CU Answers Management Services. Get Connected is a 30-minute web conference feature featuring the brands of CU Answers and the people who drive them. Today, I'm joined by Jeff Miller, the Business Development Manager of the Ops Engine team here at CU Answers. So, Jeff, what is Ops Engine?
Well, Ops Engine is the division of CU Answers that drives the everyday work for all of our credit unions. So Ops Engine is responsible, for instance, for processing ACH, doing end of day, beginning of day processing, processing drafts, all of the day-to-day stuff that generally gets taken for granted. That's what keeps the credit unions going from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're made up of a number of elements. Of course, we've got our operations team. They staff our data center. They're there 3 shifts a day, 24/7, just about 365 days a year. I think we've got maybe 2 shifts that we don't cover 100% on, I want to say, July 4th and Christmas.
I thought you were going to say a whole week.
No.
You were here.
We don't get a week off. Also, there's a programming team. We work very closely with the iSeries administration team and network services. So there's a lot of people that kind of go into making what we call the Ops Engine keep running.
Got you. So last month we interviewed with Jack Carpenter.
Sure.
So if you haven't watched, for those watching today, Jack is the production, right, programmer for CU Answers, working with Ops Engine.
Exactly.
So tell me how you work together.
Well, there are often wrinkles that come up in operations. Programs change. Sometimes you get errors. Information can be put into fields that doesn't belong there. And so we have a team of programmers on site most of the day and on call when they're not on site that help us handle errors that come up. Often we'll find things that we can improve upon. So we will submit these improvements to the operations programming group, and they will turn around and start making things even a little bit better than they are.
So these two teams together, yourself and Jack's team, and network services, and all the people that kind of go into the Ops Engine group, have some really big projects happening right now, right?
Oh, yes, we do.
Tell me about those.
So let's see, where do we want to start? Right now, the big one is RDC IQ, which is an upgrade of our existing remote deposit capture deposit services. So right now, or before now, I should say, the way to go if you wanted us to post your RDC deposits was to sign up with us, and we would start doing batch processing. So 2 times a day or 4 times a day, either 5 or 7 days a week, we would go out to eDoc or UrbanFT or what have you, pick up a file full of all of your posting transactions, and then post them to the members' accounts.
Okay. So you're really just kind of going and say, go get this file, bring it in, and then later on in the day post.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
That's the way we've been doing it.
What does IQ then?
IQ turns that whole thing on its head and says, okay, we're going to try and post that right now. So we go out to eDoc. The transaction runs through the business rules. As long as it clears those rules, it will immediately come to CU Answers and it will post. We have several credit unions that beta tested this. One of them I have accounts at. I have tried it out, and it is really, really cool. I took a picture of a check, posted it, and tried to race it to my account. So I hit submit, went bouncing out, looked at my checking account, and it was already there.
That's pretty cool.
I couldn't hit the buttons fast enough to beat it.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say every check will be there instantaneously, which is why we started out calling it near real time. Well, for a couple of reasons. We didn't know how fast it would be. It turns out it's very, very fast. But the other thing is that, there's a lot of mitigating circumstances that can arise, right? So We've just talked about the business rules. The check may need to be reviewed by the credit union.
True.
So when that happens, that process stops, and until the credit union looks at the check and says, yeah,
It's
that's
good to
okay.
go. Mm-hmm.
So like Randy Carnes tested it out at Honor. He did an account there. They had a limit, and he went just over that. So he's like, oh, this is going to be great. He had entered, nothing happened.
So it really was great that nothing happened because they had some limitations.
Followed the business rules.
So the credit union can still
did exactly
do
what it was supposed to do. So
awesome.
all the pieces and parts that are supposed to be there are still there.
Okay.
It just can create a better member experience.
For sure. So what is the IQ part?
The IQ is, it's quick.
It's quick.
Yeah. Now later on down the line, we'll probably be doing more with that. So IQ is going to mean it's smart too. But
so watch out for that.
Stay tuned for that because there's going to be more coming on this.
So you had said EDOC. So is this EDOC RDC only?
It is.
Okay.
Right now we're only working with EDOC for the RDC IQ product.
Okay. What else have you got cooking?
We've got some more ACH changes coming down the line. So when the FRB started doing their Federal Reserve Bank started doing their same day ACH transactions, we kind of switched things around so that we could accommodate that. As we're expanding across time zones, what we're going to start to do is match out our processing to the processing of the Federal Reserve Bank. They do 4 files a day. We're going to be doing 4 receive and posts per day. Credit unions don't necessarily have to change anything that they're doing now, but they'll have the opportunity to do that. Also, one of the things typically that we've done is we've only had 1 return window during the day, but the Fed actually does. They have 5 return windows over the course of the day. So we're going to be looking at doing an additional 1 or 2 returns there as well. So that's coming down the pike. And we have 24/7 processing. So the 24-hour or time zone processing, as we've been calling it, that's been kicking into place over time now. We've actually been working on all of this under the covers for about 5 years now. So it's been a long time coming, and we were sort of sneaky about it.
No, you weren't. Not at least if you work here.
But you know, there were a lot of parts and pieces that had to get put into place before we could do all of this. Well, that all fell together finally this past summer, and now we have put kind of the final touches on it.
Okay.
That happened with QEnter by time zone project that we just put in.
That's very technical.
It is. So let me explain.
Okay.
The way we used to process, everybody was in, so whenever you signed on to the system, you'd be in one big bucket. Everybody was in this
all the same time
subsystem called QEnter. It's the user's interface to the system. Well, when we did end of day, beginning of day, people couldn't be in QEnter because they would put locks on files end of day. Beginning of day, right? So no good. Can't have people on.
No matter where you lived.
Right. So when end of day began for the Eastern time zone, we had to bring down QEnter. Nobody can be on, and it would not come up again until all of the end of day, beginning of day processing was done.
So you could still be signed on, but you just couldn't come. Everyone else couldn't join in.
No CU users could get on the system. The operators could be there, but nobody else. So we have recently signed on a credit union, and that will be coming up shortly in Hawaii. What that would have meant was we would have to bring QEnter down at midnight. It wouldn't come up again until after 6 in the morning Eastern time. That doesn't fly. So we've changed everything so that each time zone.
They don't live there.
Right, exactly. So everything needs to look like what time zone that you're in. So what we did was we created some more QEnter subsystems, 1 for each time zone. So now when you sign on to the system, you get shunted into your own little time zone bucket. And when end of day, beginning of day starts for your time zone, that QEnter is brought down. So we have, for instance, for Eastern time, we have a QEnter ET. That comes down, we run your end of day, beginning of day, up it comes again.
So really what this does is it's making availability or the credit union to be able to access the system when they need to be working.
Exactly. So
Gotcha.
for instance, when end of day, beginning of day is running for the central time zone, someone from the eastern time zone can be on the system if their end of day, beginning of day is completed.
Got you.
That's a huge change.
So what else?
One more.
This is a big one.
Which is Sunday processing, which everybody's been hearing a lot about lately. Yep.
So for those who have joined us, if you're getting client news emails, be watching your client news emails for announcements about 7-day processing. And this is really important that you'll be watching. So if you're not receiving client news, please let us know by the end of the day today, or make sure that someone in your credit union is receiving the client news email messages. So they would contact CU Answers Client Services team to subscribe if they haven't done so already. Yep. What is 7-day processing?
So 7-day processing, up until now, we've run end of day, beginning of day, Monday through Saturday.
So end of day, beginning of day, as we kind of discussed, is something the operations team has to do every single day to make sure processes can happen when they're supposed to.
Exactly. It's your nightly processing cycle. And when we go through that cycle, that is part of what sets the business for your next day.
For the next day.
Right?
So now you're going to do this on Sunday.
Right. Up until now, when Saturday night came along, we would end Saturday, and when we ran beginning of day, it would jump you to Monday. So that's why, for instance, if you go to an ATM, you might see where the transaction date is Sunday, but the posting date is Monday.
Okay.
Because those things didn't line up. Sunday was not a processing day. Now, that said, we've always had a couple of credit unions that found it necessary enough to be open on Sundays that we've accommodated them, and it's worked very well. We're turning that whole thing on its head as well.
So really, it's the back office side, right?
Very
that doesn't
much
mean
so.
that 7-day processing means everybody goes and opens their door.
Yep.
That's not what it's for. Right?
As a matter of fact, we don't want credit unions to do that. If you want to go open your doors, you need to give us like a 30-day lead time to let us know, not because we can't accommodate that, we do right now, but because as we start to add credit unions that want to actually be open on Sunday, we need to have people there to support you. You need to have, client service support. All of those things have to be in place.
And we want to make sure we can deliver. Right?
So we're not opening doors on Sundays.
What are we doing?
It is mostly about the member experience on a Sunday, so that transaction dates and posting dates will line up. AFTs, that has been a perpetual bugaboo for some credit unions. What happens right now is all of the AFTs from Sunday get piled up into Monday and they all run on Monday night. This will allow us to actually do AFTs on a Sunday.
So a member could schedule it for whatever date of the month it's on, and that happens to fall on a Sunday.
It will actually happen on that date, exactly.
Okay.
Accruals and dividends will happen on Sundays. You could have a loan that goes delinquent on a Sunday now, so that's something to watch for.
Okay.
So yeah, instead of Saturday night jumping the beginning of day date forward to Monday, it's going to be Sunday. It's going to look just like every other day of the week. The member will have a consistent experience. A lot of the data that you collect for your credit union to analyze what your members are doing will now be split out into a couple of days so you can see what's actually happening on Sunday versus Monday.
That'll be really nice.
That's going to be a big one
both
too.
Member and credit union standpoint of the analysis that I'll be able to perform.
Correct.
Based on what is really happening in my credit union on Sunday, right?
Yep.
And kind of get an insight of what the members want, need, and value, right? So boy, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
I'm an analysis geek. I love data. So I kind of get excited when I hear, I can do this too.
Getting all the Sunday days is going to be a big thing.
Pretty cool. So that'll be fun. So now for 7-day processing, I want to concentrate on that because there's been a lot of email, a lot of things going on. So if I have questions about what does this mean to my credit union, who do I ask?
Well, you need to reach out to the CSR team just like you would with any other question that you have about processing.
Okay.
If they can't get you an answer, we have an entire team of people that are devoted to 24/7 processing. and it will get escalated to them, and we will get you the answers that you need.
And we want to hear from you. So ask your questions, give the client services team a call, or use the answer book, even better, and start asking your questions about what this might mean to your credit union, and share with us some of the exciting things that you might be dreaming up too.
Exactly, yeah, answer book, absolutely go through that, because that way we can start building a database, and as people ask questions and we get the answers out into the answer book, then you'll have, you know, a bigger reference to look at, you know, for specific questions that you have about 7-day processing.
Yeah. Now, there is some FAQs currently available. Where would I find those?
There are a couple FAQs. You can go out onto the Ops Engine page, cuanswers.com, and that will link to an FAQ. Also, there's a handy sign-up form there. So the sooner you get that in, the better, too. We don't want everybody doing it last minute.
So let's start with how I might find the FAQ. So for those of us familiar with the CU Answers website, which I hope you are, so go out to cuanswers.com, right? And you hover over Solutions to find Ops Engine.
Yep, there's an Ops Engine entry under Solutions. You can go there, and you'll see a whole lot of
run the gamut. Read up.
Both on 24/7, on 7-day processing, on time zone processing.
There's links to the RDC, information in the kitchen about ACH projects, and there's all links from the Ops Engine page to that information. So please go and explore and kind of have a good time there. And again, ask questions about all those projects, not just 7-day, but to the client services team. Kind of get involved with us. We can't wait to hear from you what this means to your credit union. So please do that. And
I'll throw in a shameless plug. I just met with the web services team today. And of course, we have the web store for CU Answers. You can go right to the web store. And if it's not out there already, very shortly, the RDC IQ product will be out there, and we will start taking orders on a first come, first served basis. I should probably suggest that it's not only the cool way to go because it's so quick, it's also cheaper. There is no downside to this. So right now, even if you're only doing like 1 file a day, real time is still cheaper than that.
Awesome.
So
can't beat that,
it's
right?
a no-brainer.
Yeah,
that's the way to go.
Sure.
So whoever gets the orders in first gets built first. Here comes the stampede.
Right, I was just going to say, our email box is filling up, just by the way. So let's concentrate on 7-day, though, because there is a sign-up form. So we're asking credit unions to opt in or out, because they have a choice now.
Right.
So this isn't something that CU Answers says you have to do, but we would certainly encourage that. And so how would I sign up? How do I get started?
The form's right there on the Ops Engine webpage, and I'm actually putting that out in the web store, too. It's a very short form, like 4 fields. Are you in or out?
And what's your name?
What's your name, phone number, and email address? That's pretty much it.
Yep. So once you have the group of credit unions that are in and out, and then we start processing, when will the processing begin?
We are starting Sundays on February 3rd of this year.
So get signed up.
Yep, get signed up now. Ask your questions now. Don't wait. Get all of that taken care of.
Right.
I also believe that somewhere I thought I saw somebody that was a self-processor in our group today. We already have a self-processing credit union that is open 365 days a year, including holidays. They went full boat, and they are loving it. So
there you go.
I was looking at our opt-in statistics. We're about 25–30% of the way there already. We have 1 credit union that's opted out yet. So
so there's choices, and I love that, right? That's what we're all about, is the choice and what's right for you and your credit union. So their Ops Engine will be able to accommodate your choice, so that's really great. But make sure that you get that form filled in. We really want to hear from you. Now, if I don't send in the form on February 2nd, what happens?
You are opted in.
We're in. So, but we do want to hear from you, because we want to know ahead that you've affirmed your choice, right?
Yep, we're trying to make sure that everybody's aware and is on board with this. So the default is to opt in, but ideally we want to hear from every single credit union. So get your forms into us, and we'll come chasing after you if we don't hear from you.
Phone calls will begin tomorrow, I believe. So if you haven't filled out your form yet, please do that today. Otherwise, we'll have a team member give you a call and start making sure that you're aware of where to find the forms and that information is accessible to you as far as the FAQs and things like that. So we want to make sure you have everything that you need to make your choices effectively and quickly, right? So
exactly.
It's only a couple weeks away, right?
It's coming on really fast.
Yeah.
So
and then there's
questions, get them in, because the sooner they get in, the sooner they get answered.
Yeah, and I'll say that you're doing another web conference, right?
On the 30th, I believe.
So that is, what's the intent of that conference?
That will be specifically answering questions about 7-day processing. Jack, I believe, will be joining me for that one. I don't know if we'll have some other people in on that, but we'll probably have a small team behind the scenes at that conference to start answering questions as they come in during the web conference as well.
And so those questions, I believe that conference, the format will be questions that people are already sending you, right? So they'll be commonly asked questions.
Send the questions in now, because that web conference really is kind of the wrap up to the whole thing. If you're just starting to ask your questions on the 30th, it's kind of late in the game. Ask them now so we can answer them on the 30th.
Right. So attend, make sure you'll start seeing information about that published this week, I believe. So be watching for the information. Client news, again, if you're not getting the client news emails, please let the client services team or myself know, and I can get you subscribed. We want to make sure that you have the information you need. So opt-in form, right?
Yep, that's big.
It's out on the CU Answers website, Ops Engine, or look for the email that was delivered today for 7-day processing, and I think there's a link in there.
That will have a link on it as well. I believe I saw that.
Yeah, if you can't find it, my email address is jgessner@cuanswers.com. I'm happy to send the link out to you directly, or the form, or the client services team via the answer book or phone call. That can help you.
And you can also reach me. My email address is jmiller@cuanswers.com, and I'm at extension 148 if you want to give me a quick call.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get the information you need. What else is the Ops Engine team up to? My goodness, you have a lot going on.
Those are the biggest ones right there.
So if that weren't enough, there are some other things that you do.
Yeah, we do have a lot of other things going on.
I think
vendor printed notices is one of our products. So
what does that mean?
that is a lot of credit unions will hand print and then stuff envelopes and mail out vendor notices.
So these are the notices that
like delinquency notices, your CDs maturing, all of that kind of thing. Any notice, there's a screen, and most of the credit unions are familiar with it. You go in and you choose which sets of notices that you want to print.
Yep.
Well, you can get a hold of us and tell us which sets of notices you want us to print, and we will convert those to digital data and securely transfer that information to Sage Direct LLC. They will professionally print the notices, and they look really good.
They do. They're pretty cool. And you don't have to do the work, so how cool is that? That's what I love the best. At the Credit Union, I didn't have to do the work anymore. So
they'll pop them into envelopes, seal them up, get them to the post office, and they guarantee that they will be out the same day.
And they do look very professional. So it kind of gives your credit union that extra oomph when it comes to people paying attention in the brand of your credit union. So I like that a lot. So you just got through end of year, I believe.
We did.
So that's all the Ops Engine team, all the processes that you run. And
now we're doing all of the tax processing, so that all gets going right about now.
So that all touches your team, right? And how many team members do you have?
We have about a dozen operators. Todd Underhill is the ops manager. And then Jack Carpenter is, of course, on the programming side. Darryl Stickler works as his assistant manager. And we've got 2 or 3 programmers. We might be up to 4 now working under them.
So I think some of the things happening, your team has always been here.
We've always been here,
So through the night, right?
Every night.
Running till what time do people come in and go? Is like
we have one shift that runs from about 11:30 in the evening to about 6:30 in the morning. By then, another shift, we stagger them a little bit.
Hours,
so it's 24/7, 7 days a week. There's always somebody there. So
a couple of the more exciting things that are happening in conjunction with all of this too, and I should mention is that the client services team here at CU Answers is also expanding their hours. So if you haven't heard about that just yet, you will be. So be paying attention. They'll be expanding their hours from 7:30 a.m. to midnight.
Correct.
And they'll be taking phone calls and working on support cases and doing education. So please get plugged into what the client services team is doing, as well as network services. So you'll be starting to see, if you haven't already, you'll be starting to see email communications, web conferences to ask your questions of those teams. And it's so exciting around here at CU Answers, and it's all the buzz of things that we're doing to help you and the things that we can do best. So, oh gosh, get
a lot of
plugged
big
in.
changes happening very quickly, and it's been a real benefit to our credit unions.
It's been so exciting. So I can't wait to tell you more, and I get to be part of all that here in the next few web conferences. So be sure to chime in on those. Gosh, I can't believe 30 minutes passes by so fast in these conferences, and there's probably a million more things to say. So again, be watching for those next series of web conferences. But before we go, everybody always wants to know the answers to the fun questions, so I get to ask them now, right? So now that we've taken care of business, who is your mentor?
Who are my mentors? One of my mentors was David Lusing. Before I was in CU Answers, I worked for Kent County Credit Union, and he was the CEO of that credit union when I came aboard, and he was a very close friend and mentor, and I've never forgotten that. And there are several other people in my life that have acted in that role as well.
Excellent. It's always great to have good mentors. And I always like to say, we all hear to surround yourself with good people, right? And all those good things will come, and they have. So,
a lot of good team members here at CU Answers. I couldn't even begin to count.
Yeah, for sure. So what is your superpower?
My superpower? Organization.
Yeah, I think you have to be an organizer in your job, right?
I used to be ops manager, and I don't think I could have survived without the superpower of organization. There's too much going on.
Does this carry over into your home life too? I mean,
oh no.
No,
that all goes out the window when I get home.
What's your favorite word?
My favorite word? Integrity.
Integrity. Tell me about that.
Well, I think if you don't have integrity in what you're doing and how you interact with people, then everything just kind of goes downhill from there. Be real.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Do good work, be good to people, live a good life. That's not to say we don't make mistakes, but just try your hardest.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for joining us for today's session of Get Connected. I can't believe 30 minutes has gone so fast. So check out the OpsEngine website, connect to the client services team, or to myself, Julie Gessner. It's jgessner@cuanswers.com. My extension's 131, and why don't you give your email address again?
jmiller, JMILLER @cuanswers.com. My extension's 148.
Thanks for joining us today. See you soon, everybody.
Take care.